Hey, I'm Vic Campbell here at Me3 TV, and we're here at the J Museum. And let's just step inside here, inside the old store, and talk to Matt Dobson. Matt's written a book that centers around Coon Hill called Catching Crickets. Everybody around here knows Coon Hill, right? But Matt, a lot of people know Matt. What happened? How did you end up doing this book, Matt? Tell me about it.
Well, Vic, I really enjoyed writing this book. It's a Southern historical romance, and with a lot of emphasis on a boy growing up in the Coon Hill area. As I said, I had a lot of fun writing it. I've been inspired. Every time I would go and spend time in the woods, whether it was running or fishing, I would think about some of the stories that my grandfather had told me, some of the stories that John Diamond had written and has on file in some of his collections. And so I said, you know what, there's a lot of stories here. I'm just going to use my imagination. So what I did is, growing up in the area, core community, and spending a lot of time in the Coon Hill area in those woods, I took a lot of the stories and experiences that I had as a boy, and and applied that to my creative mind, and came up with some stories for the book. And before I knew it, I said, here, we got a series of different stories of hunting and fishing and growing up and having fun with friends and family, that this could be a story. And then obviously I threw in the romantic side of it, and it was a lot of fun in writing it. And what would happen a lot of times whenever I would go in the woods and run, I would be inspired with particular stories that I could add to catching crickets. And so that's how it came together. And I got so engrossed into writing this book and trying to put it together in a format that sometimes when I'd go out there and run, I'd say, well, now that's where such and such happened, in reference to things that I have in the book.
Well, one thing to me that's interesting is you're catching a piece of history at Coon Hill. The community, the cemetery, it's got a lot of historical significance in this area. And a lot of people around here know about Coon Hill, 1820 to 1830, the first cemetery, first grave,
1836.
And you just feel it when you're down there, the history that just seeps from every rock in the road, you know.
Vic, I agree with you 100%. You know, a lot of folks go down there, they say Coon Hill's haunted. And all the people go down there looking for spooks. Listen, that's not what it's about at Coon Hill. Coon Hill is a place where people came to make a livelihood. Pioneers came to this area. They poured their heart, their life, and their soul into and worked the ground. And I think that spirit lives on there, like you just talked about. And so I felt like this was a way that I could continue that, you know, the spirit of Coon Hill. And that's, I hope that as people, in fact, I dedicated this book. Can I read the dedication page?
No, you can't. No. Yes, you can.
It says, this book is affectionately dedicated to the memory of those faithful souls who, as pioneers, established families in the gone but not forgotten Coon Hill community. And so the book is Catching Crickets is dedicated to those folks.
Hold that up a little bit for me right there.
Yeah, it was dedicated to the folks that scratched out a living in the area of Coon Hill there, and I guess you could call the north end of Chumuckla. So I wanted to make sure that I captured the spirit of Coon Hill, and I feel confident that I did that in the stories in this book. And it's a fun book. You know, I'm not a Nicholas Sparks writer, but I do know this is my first novel that I've written. Most of my works that I write are faith-based, which I love doing and I'll continue to do. But this was a little step out of my comfort zone to write this book, and I feel like it captures a boy growing up in the country, having fun, but also makes mistakes. He grows up, he enters adolescence, and he starts seeing girls in a different way, and he starts a romantic relationship with a young girl named Emma Jane. Walt Collins, by the way, is the name of the main character in Emma Jane, and he goes off to the Civil War. It actually starts 1843. He's born in 1843, and he goes off to the Civil War and fights for the Confederacy, which is another part of the book too, where he has he's torn in the ideology of why the South went to war, because he loves everyone, and he has a love for mankind. But anyway, I won't say any more. Just get the book and read it, and I think it's a good read. I think you'll enjoy it and have fun with it.
I know everybody around here is going to love it. And you're holding a poster of the Coon Hill,
Oh, yeah.
the old Springs. So
Absolutely.
this fella, if he survived, he might have lived into the era whenever this Springs hotel was coming into existence around 1915.
Absolutely.
I think this is a 1912 poster, and that hotel lasted for a few years and went into obscurity. So this old fella in your book, the young boy, he probably at the end of his life was around this era whenever the Springs was popular.
That is correct. That is correct. In fact, my wife Teresa, she said, you've got to write a sequel on this. There's so many. This book, this is 62,000 words. This novel, and there's so much more I could put into it. There's more stories, and so I do have an outline in my mind, not on paper yet, but in my mind, of a sequel for Catching Crickets, which would include this era here of Chumuckla Springs. And this, I do make reference to the Chumuckla Springs in the book, and of course its popularity around the turn of the century really took off, and then like you said, around 1912, 1915, when the hotel was built, and then of course it burnt down in 1915. I've always wondered why it was never built back after it burned down, but I guess we'll never really know. But if you get the book, I'd really like to know how you like it, and
Well, we can find you on the web, and people can read it themselves and make comments back to you. You have a website, right?
Well, I don't have a website currently. In fact, I had one, but it's
This is America.
revamped.
Have you heard about the web?
I have heard about the web, yes. And I've had a couple of different websites, but I haven't been pleased with what I had. So when my website comes up again, I'll let you know for sure, Dick. But I'm on Facebook.
Well, meanwhile, you can always reach some information here from Chumuckla.com. We'll always make a link to there and be able to find you somehow.
Right.
Get the book. You go to Amazon whatever they are.
Amazon.com.
Aren't they? Don't they own the world now? Amazon World or something?
I'm not sure. I just know.
Planet, Galaxy. They own the whole place now.
Seems like it.
Anyway, you can find the book there, right?
That's right.
So, and anywhere probably locally, people will be keeping supplies probably. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt. This has
Thank
been
you.
great. All right, everybody, go out and get the book. There it is. Catching Crickets.